Okay, look, here's the deal. Judge Napolitano, one of the few true conservatives out there, normally a conservative means somebody that triples the size of government, attacks a bunch of third world countries, helps stage terror attacks, and knows full well that Homeland Security is really spying on real conservatives, these rhinos. But I like Napolitano. It says, kiss your freedoms goodbye if health care passes. Congress recognizes no limits on its power. It doesn't care about the Constitution. It doesn't care about your inalienable rights. If this health care bill becomes law, and it's passed the House now, America and American life as you have known it, freedom as you have exercised it, and privacy as you have enjoyed it will cease to be. And that's not an overstatement, my friends. The House of Representatives will vote on a 2,000-page bill to give the federal government the power to micromanage the health care of every single American. The bill will no doubt pass. It will raise your taxes, steal your freedom, invade your privacy, and ration your health care. Even the Republicans have introduced their version of Obamacare Light. It, too, if passed, will compel employers to provide coverage, bribe the states to change their court rules, and tell insurance companies whom to insure. And, ladies and gentlemen, that's the thing. The Republicans are involved in this as well. And Napolitano is one of the only mainline people, that's why I like him, who will actually tell the truth. You're not going to hear that out of Glenn Beck. You're not going to hear that out of Rush Limbaugh. You're not going to hear that out of these people. Did they say a word when Bush tripled the size of government? I've got Beck on video saying we've got to pass the banker bailout bill or the subprime mortgages. Everything will fall apart. We've got to do this right now. And the point is, when the Republicans get back into the House in a year, we need to make them repeal this government health care. But no, they'll just blame it on the Democrats and hope you forget about it. You watch. These little bastards, these little creatures, excuse me, they are going to try to keep this. And that's what makes me so sick about them. They're just as bad as the Democrats. We do have one political party in this country. We don't have two. We do not have two political parties in this country. America. We have one party called Big Government Party. The Republican wing likes deficits, war, and assaults on civil liberties. The Democratic wing likes wealth transfer, taxes, and assaults on commercial liberties. Both parties like power, and neither is interested in your freedoms. Think about it. Government is the negation of freedom. Freedom is the power and ability to follow your own free will and your own conscience. The government wants you to follow the will of some faceless bureaucrat. And in Europe, and they're admitting they're going to do that under this plan, Daschle, who originally wrote the bill, wrote a book about it, saying, yes, if you're above 60, you don't get eye surgery, you don't get ear surgery, you don't get cancer surgery. They love to socialize wealth of the general public because then elites get the profits off that system, but more importantly, they get to come in, and now you don't get to choose. You don't get to run your own life. Control freaks revel in bossing you around, running your life. And the police love to act like they're all conservative and they're good old boys and they're going to help you. They're a bunch of control freaks as well. It's just a big, sickening government. And the public's degenerating as well. I mean, not just the government. This is a decadent society. I just can't believe they passed this, but I knew they were. When I saw all these headlines last week, in fact, I have several of them here, where they were saying, top Dems, Obama won't get health care bill in 2009. This is from ABC News, November 3rd. And oh, it's not going to pass the House. Oh, it won't pass the Senate. Oh, don't worry, they're not going to get the global climate change piece of legislation through. Don't worry, everything is just fine. I knew when I saw that. It's like a month ago, Schwarzenegger said, I'm not going to sign the bill making you digitally thumbprint and be registered to buy ammo in California. And I said, that's it. He's going to sign it next week. And he signed it. Because they understand that most people are halfway reading the newspaper. And so they'll think that Arnold didn't sign it. And they'll go, I like him. He's a Republican. He's anti-gun, pro-open border, pro-big government, pro-global carbon tax, but he did kick out that Gray Davis commie. Ha ha, yeah, boy. It's like when I walked in McBride's a few years ago when Bush was still in office, and I was talking to one of the managers. Yeah, Bush is trying to reauthorize the assault weapons ban. And this guy walked over from behind the counter and went, Alex, I'm tired of your lies. Bush is against the assault weapons ban. And I just smiled and said, okay, believe whatever you want. And then one of the owners says, no, it's true. He's supporting the assault weapons ban. And the guy was like, what? What? It's the same thing. Schwarzenegger, he ain't signing that anti-gun bill. Oh, really? See, these are tricks they play on you. So they're out. Oh, don't worry. It's not going to pass the House. And then now there's already articles out today about, don't worry, it's never going to pass the Senate. Oh, sure. Just like they said 2 weeks ago that it would never pass out of committee for the climate bill. Oh, Senate panel approves Democratic climate bill. That climate bill has already passed the House. This is even worse than government-run health care. I mean, the government's grabbed the auto companies. It's already grabbed our industry by paying incentives to move to Mexico, China, and India. Under the climate bill, China, India, Mexico, and hundreds of other third world countries, over 160 other countries, have to make zero cuts. But the U.S. and Europe have to make 20% cuts within the first 5 years in carbon, in carbon dioxide that comes out of every factory and every one of our mouths and that plants breathe. Now, the little bit of industry we got left, where do you think it's going to go when there's at least a 20% tax, that's what it is, on all industry? It'll go to China and India and Mexico, where a handful of fat cat industrial barons financed by the private banks who you pay the carbon taxes to. You gotta love it. The big central banks own the slave labor camps. It's the equivalent, the maquiladores in places in Mexico and China of slavery. Many places it is slavery in China. In India, they have the caste system where you're, untouchable, and that's their little slaves over there as well. And so the big banks, they own the factories, and what industry's left in the West, you pay taxes to the same banks that have incentivized moving the factories to the third world where there's zero carbon taxes. And that baby is now out of committee, boys and girls. They could vote on the stinking climate bill next week. The Senate could vote next week on health care. You better get on a plane and go to your senator's office. You better call them. And you better let those traitors know that you're going to personally sue them. I mean, they're committing crimes. They're destroying your livelihood. They're making sweetheart deals. Al Gore has made over $1 billion. He happens to be the majority owner of the carbon trading company that the UN chose as the sole rater of an entire class of carbon credits. This guy's already made $1 billion in 2 years off this. This guy who's got a 12,000 square foot home, just one of 5 homes he owns. Ted Turner says you should only be able to have 1 child by law. He's got 5. Ted Turner has over 40 homes. He owns over 5 million acres in the U.S. He has more than 14 jet aircraft. 5 children. But see, he counts. You're a useless feeder. A lot of you out there think there are too many people. By the way, there aren't. But you better get this through your head. If you buy into this, well, you just better read the White House Science Czar's textbook where they talk about how they're putting cancer viruses and sterilants in your vaccines and drinking water. You might want to read Eco Science. It's free online before you sit there and go along with this, you fools. Hey, you're not going to listen till you're totally bankrupt. I understand. So enjoy the New World Order. They're just getting started punching your teeth out.